I'm sitting in his seat. It's kind of weird over here, man. I'm not gonna lie. It's weird sitting in his seat, but oh well. Alright, let's see what we got. Whoa, Montana. That's just how we roll, huh? Alright, let's check that out. Well, good morning, everybody. It's before 7 a.m. I've been up since about 4, probably, 3:45, 4 o'clock in the morning, something like that. Coffee, fire, chicken water. That's how my morning consists. I live in Montana, so we just wake up early, we get our cup of coffee, we get dressed, we get to work. That's just kind of how I roll. That's how we roll. We make sure our fire is going and we're good to go and we're off for the day. So I'm warming up some water right now for the birds, and that's so I can melt the ice in their little pond out there that they drink from. It's just basically a kiddie swimming pool. I can melt that ice for them, and then they can go ahead and have water throughout the entire day. And I make sure that it's not too hot, just enough to melt the water or melt the ice, and they're good to go. I use a little 6-gallon water tote right there. That's what I use for transporting water. I have to pod water. I'm in a spot where I do not have access to water out of the ground. No well, no city water, no nothing. Okay? I have to pod water. All right? So water conservation is a big deal, especially I drink a lot of coffee, as you can see. But anyway, like I said, the sun's not up this morning, so I'll take you to the front door and I'll show you how dark it is outside and show you everything else. Maybe you'll hear little Roo crowing, who knows? He's been going since 4 o'clock, all right? So, let's go check out the door. We'll see how dark it is, and then after that, I'll see you a little bit later when the sun comes up so that I can show you some of the stuff that I got to do day to day, all right? So in the meantime, come on, let's go check it out. So this is my bus, honestly. It's nothing special. It's still kind of, it's in the process of being worked on. I got a tour coming up. That tour coming up is what it looks like now. It's going to talk about where I got stuff, how I placed it, and a whole bunch of other things. And then it's going to show the pieces that I just recently got, and a whole bunch of stuff like that, okay? So, when that video comes out, I hope you guys like it. But in the meantime, as you can see, whoa, as long as I don't fall and break my foot on my steps, that was a little crazy. Always keep your handrail. Handrail. So, as you can see, it is dark outside, okay? It's dark. And I'll show you the moon real quick. There's the moon. Gonna come back in here for a second. Now we're gonna go outside one more time, okay? Because I'm gonna show you the coop, and I just heard the rooster crow. All right, so swing right outside right here, and there's the coop right there on the end of the glare. Okay, so as soon as the sun comes up, I have a lot of work to do. Because I have to refill chicken food, I have to flip my Jeep around, I have to get the wood ready to be cut, I got to get the trailer empty, and a whole bunch of stuff today, all right? So you guys stay tuned, and I'll show you the next step of what I'm doing for the rest of the day, all right? You guys take care. Well, just made another cup of coffee. Sun came up, so let's go outside for a second. By the way, if you're a coffee drinker and you like eggnog, try eggnog in your coffee as a creamer. It's really, really good. So, pretty sure the birds are kind of hungry right now. Like I said, the sun's barely coming up, and it's a little windy, so I hope you don't mind. I hope you can hear me. That's the thing about living out here, is it's always windy. If it's not windy, it's cold. And if it's not cold, then it's like hot. And if it's not hot, then you're like, what? It's wet. Ugh. So anyway, let's go ahead and start our morning off. So, it's cold, no block heater. As you see, there is no block heater coming out of the front of this thing. Nothing on the ground, no cords, no cables. That's garden hose. So, she always starts for me. I don't, -35, -40, whatever, she starts. Anyway, let's fire her up, get her warmed up. I didn't have a chance to unload my firewood yesterday because when I filmed the video, to sum up, before I showed my footage, it was already getting dark. So anyway, let's go ahead and fire this thing up for a second. Here, just pop it in here. Make sure she's in neutral. Okay, she's in neutral. Now, this is the thing. This has no clutch override thing on it. You don't have to push the clutch in. You don't have to push a button, okay? This thing just starts as long as it's in neutral. All right, so we're going to let that warm up for a minute. Get my coffee. Coffee. See? So I got to turn her around today and get the wood unloaded and all that fun stuff. But in the meantime, let's go see, because I'm pretty sure the birds are probably like, dude, it's time to eat. Okay? So, like I said, sun's just barely coming up. You see the glare over there. I'll try to keep it out of the camera so it doesn't mess it up. Figures. There's always one outside. See what I mean? It's kind of what I got to deal with. So, let me get these ladies squared away and then I'll see you guys in a bit, all right? Enjoy. Well, they look like they're happy now, right? So, I got that water steamed, and you see it's not even steaming, it's just all melted down for them. They can go ahead and drink it. They got their food, and in case you didn't catch that at the end of the time lapse, I forgot to grab something first thing. Put my thumb back in, shredding my gloves. I'm gonna have to stitch these back up. But, yes, they lay all winter, okay? I don't have a coop heater, I don't have a coop light, I have a rooster, all right? I'll get more into that in my chicken videos, okay? Same thing with the food mixing and all that fun stuff. So I'm gonna go drop these inside. And then I gotta work on flipping the Jeep around so that I can get all this, actually, you know what? I don't wanna do that. The floor is kinda cold in this thing. Just go ahead and walk in here for a minute. Put these up over here. Get them out of the way, man. Bummer. I'm gonna have to make some more coffee. All right, well, I'm gonna make some more coffee. I'm gonna drink that. Jeep's still warming up, and then I'll be right back, all right? We'll flip that around real quick, and then we'll get moving on, all right? See you later. Well, I made my coffee. Oops. It's pretty full, pretty hot. You see it steaming. So we gotta flip this around. But I want you to pay attention to a couple things. I'm gonna record this in real time, not time lapse. I know a lot of you Jeep people love to see articulation, okay? I also want you to notice the fact that my trailer kind of doesn't really have a cross beam axle when I back it up. You should be able to see all that. See if I can tweak this just a little bit, right about there. And I'm gonna go ahead and back this up for you, and then I'll come back and I'll tell you a little bit about my trailer so you can understand. I got it really, really cheap, okay? So when I said my price in the other video, there was a lot more involved in that price, okay? So, I'll be right back. Let me flip her around.
Okay, so I hope you guys saw that. I hope the trailer wasn't in the way. I'll show a lot more video footage later of just the Jeep, articulation, all that cool stuff, off-roading. But I'm going to talk a little bit about this trailer for a second. I'm going to pitch the camera down just a bit, like that. Sorry about the jolt. And then I'm going to kick you over. All right. So, this trailer, I actually bought it for $40. It was just the steel. It had no wiring, no electrical, no lights on it, no nothing. It had a twisted tongue on it that had been jackknifed and bent. It was sunk in the mud, and I just so happened to catch it at the springtime before the grass really got tall. And at the time I owned my auto detailing business, so I had my business cards. Well, I went ahead and I left one of my business cards on the front door with the inquiry that I was interested in the trailer. I talked to the gentleman and he literally told me, he said, I'm getting ready to sell this property, and if the tires air up, it's 40 bucks. If the tires don't air up, it's $30. What do you think? I said, sir, you have yourself a deal. It didn't have a VIN number, nothing like that. It hadn't been used in like 35 years or 40 years or something like that. So I decided to go ahead and buy it and put a little bit of money into it. I purchased a VIN number. I had the VIN number stamped into the frame. I had the vehicle inspected after it had the VIN number in and the light kit and everything put on it that I installed. After that, I got my registration, which for trailers in Montana is permanent. And then I was on my way. The rest of the money was materials, electrical, VIN number, all the registration stuff. The trailer purchase was included. I bought brand new tires for it. One tire is a normal tire. The other one has to hold a tube on the inside of it because the rim isn't seated and has a leak in it. So they put a tube in the one side. Cool. And let's see, what else? Oh yeah, all the wood. Yeah, I've got a whitewater raft I managed to acquire a few years back, back when I had my business that I was working before I had to shut it down. And so I bought all this wood and I figured I wanted a multi-purpose trailer. Well, now I have it. These pipes right here are for the boat. They're PVC with EMT conduit sleeved underneath it with steel pegs that go into the EMT conduit, and that keeps the PVC from snapping. Not the greatest rollers in the world, but they happen to work. So I'm gonna pull this camera off of here, off of this tripod, and we're gonna dive underneath this thing, and I'm gonna show you a little bit about this trailer, and it might just blow your mind. I was told that the hubs are actually from like a 1950 Ford, and they're the front, not the rear. Okay, so that's why I said pay attention. If you can see, if you could find an axle under there, you let me know. All right. By the way, that only applies while I was driving. Okay. All right, let's check this out. So this right here, I put all these lights on, a little bit of steel right here. I put the mud flaps on because in the state of Montana, if your bumper is 18 inches off the ground or higher, your vehicle requires mud flaps, okay? Now, Jeeps, there's a lot of gray areas with Jeeps, but don't push it if you have a Jeep, okay? It's just that simple. We got good rules up here. Don't push them because that messes them all up, all right? But with this trailer, as you can see down here, there's a lot in there. I'm gonna zoom you in a little bit. See this coil pack right here? Let me get out of your face real quick. That coil pack right there, there's 12 leaves on just this one side. So, like I said, I put all the lights on. I put the D-rings. Oh man, that morning sun is rough. Sorry about that. This D-ring right here I welded on, and as a matter of fact, the whole corner plate I had to weld on because this tapered up to about that thick from here to here, and that was about it. So I put my side lights on. did all my wiring and everything. Later on, I decided to go ahead and add the boat winch. I had to replace the tongue, put a whole new tongue on it, put chains and everything else on it, and then come back out of the sun. Let's take a look at underneath. Because when you get underneath this thing, it's got ground clearance, so it works for off-road, it works for snow, and it works for rivers. The guy I bought it off of used it as a sled trailer for snowmobiles, okay? That'll tell you something, so check this out. There it is. You see where that axle is in reference to the tire? Look at that. That is just absolutely crazy. So I decked this thing, I put the wood on and all the rest of the stuff because like I said, I wanted a multi-use trailer. It originally came with some kind of ramp that they had put in underneath right here, and that's what this bolt's for right there. But it's not what I'm using it for. I'm using it for everything else but the sled. So anyway, I got a bunch of work to do. So I'll see you guys in a little bit with probably the next thing I'm going to do. I'm not really going to cut all this today. I'm just going to get it off the trailer and get my trailer clear for the next wood run and try to figure out where I'm going to go, all right? So I'll see you guys in a bit. I hope you're enjoying the video. Don't forget, like, share, subscribe, and kick the bell out of here, okay? Makes it a lot easier. That way you get these videos, all right? I'll be back. Oh, I will. Trust me. I got a lot of work to do.
This guy moves really fast, man. I think he needs to slow down a little bit. Maybe lay off that coffee. Yeah, that's just kind of a lot.
Well, I wasn't originally going to do this, but you saw how much wood I had to unload, so I figured I'll get the chaps on and the wood cutting gloves. Had to make some new coffee too. I drink a lot of coffee, by the way. It's not bad for you, it's actually good for you. It just depends on what you put in it, okay? This time I put milk in it, which is what I normally do. When I have the luxury eggnog, I'll put eggnog, all right? But I'm gonna go ahead and fire this up. So, well, actually, no, hold on a second. Let's talk. All right, so I've been trying this fuel right here. I picked it up at one of our local wrench and home supply stores. Seems to be running good for my old saw. And it's always really cold. And bar oil is extremely expensive, so I use 530, okay? I use 530 and 1030 Castrol GTX in my Jeep too. And then, of course, my saw. Now here's the cool thing about this, it's an old Craftsman, see? Just an old Craftsman, double tensioning system because I upgraded the bar. But if you guys don't know nothing about saws, not all of them are like this, but mine is. See that little red bubble right there? You have to pump that a few times. Of course, you got your on-off switch, your trigger, the first knob right here, right above the skull, or right below the skull, sorry, is the lock, and this is the lock release, okay, in order to be able to even squeeze the trigger. On top of that, this little part right here is where your bar oil goes in. That's where I put the motor oil. And the one down, this thing stops trying to jump into my chaps. That little blue one right here, that's the choke, okay? So, set my coffee down for a second. You're gonna take this one, you're gonna push that primer a couple times just to flood some fuel into the carburetor. It's about enough. You flip this on. Now this trigger, okay, you have to push this down in order for that trigger to work. And then once that's down, you can push this down and that'll lock your trigger. The only way to get that undone is to squeeze your trigger. Mine's all cold. Come on. Of course it wants to mess with me because it's all cold. Jerk. Well, let's see if she fires up. Oh well. Might as well, right? Well, she fired up. I just got to find out why my trigger's locked open, because that's the first time that's ever happened with this saw. There it goes. See? You have to be careful with that, all right? So anyway, I'm going to get to cutting wood since she's having a temper tantrum. I'll flip the camera over to the other side. That way you guys get a better view of this, all right? I'll see you in a bit. Well, there it is. Firewood. That's how I do it. Trusty old saw. Had to fill up a little bit of fuel, but I got it all taken care of. Now it's all to splitting, but I'm not going to make a video like that because I already did, alright? So, I'm going to get everything taken care of and I'm going to move on with my day, alright? And I'm going to end this video here because this is probably going to be a good one for you guys to watch. It might be a little long. So, make sure you go get rule 1, coffee. Rule 2, you know what that is. And then after that, if you enjoyed this video, do me a favor. Hit that like button, smash that subscribe button, and then kick that bell out of the window, okay? That way you get all the videos when I drop them. And then after that, if you could do me one more solid, share it with a friend, all right? You guys take care, and I'll see you next time, all right? I'm going to get all this taken care of.
Oh man, that was quick. That's a good way to do it. I'll have to remember that. Alright, I better get out of here before he gets back and sees me in a seat.